But no, Beth York goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marbles. Kayla versus Allison and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory. Hello everybody, and for those of you who already watched this morning for Sony, welcome back. For those who are tuning in for the first time, welcome to the CVRcade Solo Cup. We are in week 3. Riders from across the world are chasing the individual glory of being named the best current rider on CVRcade and CVRcade Racing. Today we are racing for prize money as always. $30 for the first spot, $20 for second, $15 for third, $10 for fourth, and $5 for fifth. 4 events, 4 races. The total score across all 4 make up your Omnium score, and it's the highest at the end of the day that will walk away with the money. As always, we've got riders from across the world broadcasting into the stream today. We have got Ben Shuilong, who is in here today in Zones K. We have got Sebastian Kuhn, who is back for more. We saw this morning he got pretty angry towards the end and dashed against the rocks. Maybe he'll find that, wouldn't really call it inner peace, but find that mindset again. We've got Casey Shum, who won Zone E earlier today with a magnificent display on Electric Fidget, not crashing a single time. We've got Quinton Molyneux, winner of Season 1 of the CVRcade World Cup, taking home just under $6,000. We have got Nigel Doyle, the Nightmare, from Velocity Vixen by day usually, but here in the early mornings of the day, he is the individual rider. And we've got Jeff Rooney as well. I do believe we've got Carl Axel Sander somewhere, but we'll see him once the racing begins. Jeff, it is an honor and a pleasure to have you back on the stream. It's been a while. How are things, my friend?
Excellent. Just hoping the others that did this morning got tired legs. So we know they'll know the track's better and crash even less, but we hope for the first one.
I like it. Recently, Jeff, you've been performing really, really well, but something about you is your heart rate recently has been through the roof. Always 196, 197. Are you just fresh as a daisy, or what's happening lately with your heart?
I think it's been the timing of the events, and well, doing the Derny Cup on keyboard, that's a rest day for me, so that definitely helps.
Well, Jeff, I'm expecting more of the good stuff here today. Jeff, good luck in the 4 races that we've got on track so far. I see we in the chat, we've got Quinton Molyneux, who is typing away. So see we've got Carl on the screen. We've got Sushi Salmon, also known as John Pyle, who may be joining us later. We've got DK Mansuni. We've got Death Scythe X joining on back in. This is a stacked Omnium that we're about to face out. I see we got Ryan Goldenberg in the racing, and we have Jonathan Helron, the Blockhead Rocket, the most talked about racer from Saturday's racing, and I can't wait to discuss all of that in the it's going to be rebranded talk show podcast episode that's going to come out tomorrow. So keep an eye on that if you want to hear more discussion between Beth York, Victor Lundqvist, and myself. But in 15 seconds time, we're going to see the racing get underway here in Zone K. 4 events, 4 races: Aqua Velo, Lakeview Corner, Electric Fidget, and Dash Against the Rocks. Who will reign supreme? Well, the next 4 events will show us just that answer as Nigel Doyle gets off to an early start here. In Sony earlier today on Aqua Velo, it was Nils Heldens who took the first victory, with Timothy Tomot second and Casey Shum third. It was a game of figuring out the timing. We saw Timothy hit the front early, we saw Casey hit the front early, and it was Nils Heldens, the Tempest, who came through at just the right time and crossed the finish line in the first position. But it is just a one-time scoring multiplier, so it is not the end of the world if you walk away this one with a less than optimal result. As we see Ryan Goldenberg on the front, we see Vibeke Bertram on the back here at 170 equalized heart rate, and she's just lost the draft. The same goes for Ryan Goldenberg. Two riders already being distanced, and you can see the speed differential, 44 to 47. That's Vibeke Bertram. She's gone. That's Ryan Goldenberg. He's gone. And that leaves 9 riders in the front group. Jeff Rooney, a rider who's been really racing up the rankings lately. He's been performing well. Will today be the day that we see Jeff rise to the top? Like, I feel like with Jeff, it's been like this for a better part of like 4 months now. We've been like, is it this? Is it today? Is it today? Is it today? We'll see if it is today that Jeff Rooney will come on true and win it. Ben Shuilong on the screen now. He's been doing well in these low-skill events. Ben, Timothy, Jennifer, in the past, as the Hive unit they are on Saturdays, they perform well on these low-skill events. Will he start off the first event on the strong foot? And, you know, there are different opinions of how to attack the day. Do you save your legs? We saw Aaron Starlin earlier use his legs very differently to what most people do. He opted not to sprint in the first race and went for a more conservative approach of just saving his legs and give it everything on the final race, which is dashed against the rocks. But we're coming up to the end here. 500 meters. Vibeke with a comeback kit, she will not make it back. Final lap is approaching. Nigel Doyle, the nightmare on the left. Quentin Molyneux with a less than optimal performance from him this morning, but I think we're going to see a revitalized. We're going to see a Quentin Molyneux out for more here in Zone K. There's an attack. It is Homer Thompson. It's Nigel Doyle. It is Quentin Molyneux coming through the group and to the finish line. Quentin first. Casey Homer Thompson in second, with Casey Shum cross the line in third, and just like that, Quentin Molyneux already improving on Zone E's performance here. So you can see a cheeky smile on Quentin as he knows that one was needed. We get the highlights here again. We get Nigel on the left. We get Quentin on the right. You can see the riders nearby list all the way on the right here. As you can see, their equalized watts, their heart rates, and where they are. And when the sprint opens up, it is Homer and Nigel that open it up early here. Homer Thompson with a very unlike Homer move, but it pays off with a great second place for Homer Thompson. Nigel just not sticking with the draft. And with Quentin, the move that was put on him by attack the middle, by using the bots to draft on through, that's exactly what he did to the rest. And Quentin Molyneux reigned supreme on the first race here. Quentin, how badly was that needed after Sony earlier today?
I think it was definitely needed for my mental. I don't know what happened earlier today. The legs felt alright, but the focus wasn't there. So hopefully I can keep the focus on the right spots now and get a better result.
Now, you have the advantage of already ridden these at race pace. Now, Lakeview Corner is the next one, and that's where we saw Casey do a bit of a sneaky attack in Zone E. Is that something you're going to be keeping your eye on here in Zone K?
I mean, it can always happen, of course, but I feel like Casey's attack was well timed, but I think that if Timothy or Sebastian didn't really look at each other, we would have closed the gap. Of course, I wasn't going to ride after Casey. I know it's a solo cup, but there's like a little bit of like camaraderie still going on. So it was like a little bit of doubt in between the three of us then. So I just need to make sure that there is no moment of doubt.
I like it. More focused, less doubt. It sounds like, Quentin, you're coming out here to win this one. Fortunately, we don't have Homer in the stream as we did earlier. He will be joining us in L. Let's go and hear from Nigel, who came across the line in fourth, who tried to attack with Homer Thompson. Nigel, we've been seeing you attempt this more and more, the long-range attack, and it almost paid off for you.
Yeah.
Now... Coming into this
one.
Yeah,
sorry.
No worries, Nigel, no worries. It was a brilliantly timed enter nonetheless because it fit right in. But Nigel, we've got Lakeview Corner coming up next. A 7 km/h wind. How do you feel on this map?
Well, this one's, there's no obstacles like the other Lakeview courses, but you've got to be really careful, you know, moving left and right, changing lanes to, you know, cut the apex that you don't crash into other riders.
Well, we've seen it earlier today with a few riders overlapping wheels and cutting out through the corners. Nigel,
Yeah.
4th place. I'm excited to see what you can bring here to the race. We got Sebastian in here, we got Jeff in here. Let's go and chat with Ben, who is down in 7th here, just making our rounds to the newcomers into the broadcast today. Ben, not the best of performances for Team Hive. You were getting better. You were up there week 2, week 1, week 3. What's the mood like for you and the rest of the Hive?
The mood is good. It's still good. I think, you know, Tim's been on fire recently, so he's put in some good shows, both in the team league and the solo cup. So yeah, 7th isn't great, but it's quite a low multiplier, and you know, it's definitely worth saving a bit of energy for the last 2 races in this Omnium. So it's all to play for still, really.
Now, earlier today, we made the rounds when we asked who people fear the most. And it seems to be Sebastian that everybody's like, this guy, just, I fear him so much. Is that the same sentiment for you? Or are you looking at other riders when you're looking in the Omnium, especially one as technical as this one?
No, it's perhaps having seen Sebastian's performance in Zone E, I'm perhaps not quite as concerned. But you know, Carl always fights hard. Casey is always strong. You know, everyone's good. So no, I can't really discount anyone. It's just going to be tough. I know it.
Everyone is too nice here in the CVRcade racing community. We need to bring back some of the grudge matches. Can we just get Timothy back on the stream, bring him up against Quentin? Anyway, Ben, Quentin, Nigel, thanks for the words here in the interlude between the 2 races. We've got 1 minute and 5 seconds to go before the next race gets underway. Lakeview Corner, 5.4 kilometers long, and this is such a battle that's being fought in the mind. A lot of cycling, a lot of the CVRcade is being fought with your legs, with your ability to take turns. And this one, you've really got to know your positioning. You've really got to be sure that you're in the right place at the right time, because it swings left, but as soon as it swings left, the next turn it swings right. And with the 7 km/h wind, that is a cross tailwind from the start line, it means you're going to get a headwind once you come the other way around. It's going to be a quick and a fast race. We got Vibeke Bertram joining us in the broadcast as well. Always a sight to see Vibeke, who is always fun to be interviewed. Let's see how she fares today. Not the optimal beginning to her racing in the first race. Now, if you are joining us on a physical replay, I hope you enjoy yourself. I hope you bring out the best you've got. It's all for a good workout, but you've also got to see if you can match up against the Quentin Molyneux, the Homer Thompson, the Casey Shums, the Ben Shuilongs. You've got to give it everything. Now, Casey already $30 richer on the day. He's looking to add to that tally. He won this race in Zone E earlier today by a perfectly timed attack at a moment where nobody really wanted to close it down, but I think everybody else in this zone will be wiser to the contrary, knowing that Casey goes, it might be valuable to go with him. I remember Timothy trying to go with him, but then opted to not do so. As we look down the riders nearby list, we got 13 riders making it onto the start line here. As you see Sebastian, you see Jonathan, you see Quentin, Carl, Axel Sander, who Ben Shuilong was singling out as being a threat here. And Carl recently has been increasing his form. But how will he fare in this one? Coming into this one blind, not having done Zone E, as we see Jonathan with a block it rocket maneuver on Vibeke. So back with more of the same for Jonathan Heron. definitely did not make any friends on Saturday. Heavily argued amongst the teams. And it looks like Jonathan is back in here. Even in the solo cup, he is taking out those that he considers a threat. And for him, that is Vibeke Bertram. And I don't blame him. She's been getting increasingly strong. We'll see how it goes. We got Timothy in the chat. We've got Crucial Bowl. We've got Moti in here as well. Thank you for joining in. Crucial says, to be honest, I never see you doing the physical replays. You've got to turn on the broadcast widget. If you turn on the broadcast widget, you'll be able to sync up the live broadcast with your physical replay. And in doing so, you can have me commentating on your ride. And you can see if you can beat the rest out on map. I know a few people do it quite religiously, and it is a nice feature to have. As now we look on the front. This is a proper pack we've got, as it looks like Ben there slammed into the back as Ryan Goldenberg has fallen down. An overlap of wheels, and that happens at a very poor time as the pace picks up on the front. It is Quentin Molyneux now. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. He is applying the pressure to the rest. He knows the corner speeds. He knows every left-hander is like a 48, every right-hander is like a 52. Now, those are rough estimates of what I remember from this map, but you can see Quentin knowing that knowledge, and it's Tammy Woods who is riding next to Rick Woods in real life. Side by side, they are riding together, and I think we're seeing Tammy here, thanks to physical equalization, she's choosing to apply some of the pressure in the front of the pack, seeing if someone is going to close it down. But is it a case of Quentin, you know, being a tiny bit antsy, wanting to start strong, but maybe you end up doing too much? Do you start, you know, spending energy where you necessarily may not need to? Because if you compare where Quentin is to where the chasing group is, they're all working hard. But Quentin is at 190 equalized heart rate. Tammy's at 181. You got Vibeke at 182. You got Rick at 176. And just like that, Tammy Woods has reeled in her fishing rod, and she has caught herself a Quentin Molyneux. And now she's onto the attack here. We've seen a rise of the Rise and Rip contestants recently. Elizabeth Thompson, strong. Paula Philbrook, strong. Homer in the last race, incredibly strong. Will this one be Tammy Woods? Let's hear it in the chat. You got Mutt KG said, get it, Tammy. That is so cool that the chat is loving it as well. Halfway through the racing, 2 laps remaining, and the pack is still all together. You've got one uncrashable, one power plant super. So the uncrashable makes it so you cannot crash for 10 seconds. Power plant gives you 100 extra equalized watts for 5 seconds or 10 seconds. I do believe, depending on how it's configured. We'll see now as Carl Axel Sander on the screen here with the very recognizable sweatbands. He covers off the sweat. He looks on the screen here, being ousted as one of the favorites here by Ben Shuilong, who doesn't think Sebastian's got it. And we do see Sebastian here at the back of the group. And is he waiting to go? Is he angry? Has he turned himself into the Hulk? I guess that's what we're going to find out here as the race comes closer and closer to the end. John says, how do you score points? Like only Omniums get points? Or, I'm not sure how to, exactly what your question is, but you score points by finishing an event. There's a score base from 30 points for the winner, then down to like 1 point as Jonathan overlaps the wheels and goes down, then depending on the difficulty of the event. Now, we are working on an animation to showcase you the Omnium scores a bit differently, or an explainer, but that'll be coming later in the week, so make that easier. As Tammy Woods has gone off the front, ladies and gentlemen, Tammy Woods has been racing more and more. I remember seeing her on Temple Run, I remember seeing her on various other maps, and she has got a 3-second gap down to her fellow female Vibeke Bertram, who has now decided this is the time to take it up on the front. It's the final lap of racing. Will Tammy be able to cope with the pressure? Because you've got to know the corner speeds. You've got to know the rhythm of the map here. Because if you get overconfident and you think you've got it, you may end up overshooting one of these very technical corners on Lakeview Corner. As we are now seeing Carl Axel Sander coming on through. He moves to the left. I think we might be seeing an Uncrashable being winded up here. 900 meters to go. I think we're going to see fireworks. Quinton has gone down. Quinton Molinez has fallen down. And from winning the first race to now having to make up a significant gap with 800 meters to go, that is not how he wanted to succeed in this race. Nigel with a power plant. We've seen Jeff with Uncrashable, but it is still Tammy Woods with 600 meters to go. Carl is slowly but surely closing in the increments. Nigel is there. Sebastian is there. Homer is at 199 equalized heart rate, 500 meters. Tammy of the US of A, Carl Axel Sander, Sweden, here in the orange kit versus Tammy in the red. He moves up on the left. He gets in the draft. He's got to be careful though, because Nigel is closing it down. When will the Uncrashable be popped? Carl is accelerating. He comes on through. Does Tammy have what it takes to answer this attack from Carl Axel Sander? For the time being, the answer is no. Power plant gets popped. And you get Carl Axel Sander has got one left-hand turn. And without even using the Uncrashable, the Swedish chef named by Ben Shuilong is the favorite, does come on through. Tammy will get second, Nigel third, Sebastian fourth, Homer fifth. Rick Woods can be very proud down in sixth, Vibeke, and then it's Quinton Molinez, who's with Casey Shum, 11th and 12th. As Quinton finishes here, Quinton, what happened with your crash?
I'm gonna have to shoot a message to Vanessa or the team. Because I checked my rearview mirror 2 times before I moved lane, and it was clear. So either that was a visual bug or I'm tripping. Either is really possible, so I don't know which one it is.
Well, only one way in the meantime, Quentin, is refocus, mental gather yourself, and then just go. There's more points left up on Electric Fidget and Dashed Against the Rocks. Quentin still 5th in there, only 9 points down, but Vanessa and the team will be looking out for Quentin. But what a race! Tammy Woods taking no prisoners, as Fulford T said in the chat. And then with Jonathan overlapping the wheels, going down. And then it's Carl, slowly but surely, mastering every corner, picking the inside line, bringing up the pace. But again, the question is, that was only a 1.5 scoring multiplier. That was a lot of effort being exerted for a good result on Lake View Corner. We're watching Carl Axel Sander here at the finishing line once more. We do have Carl on audio. Carl, congratulations winning Lakeview Corner. It got a bit dicey with Tammy towards the end. Talk me through your perspective of that race.
Oh yeah, it's a bit hard, an expected course. It looks simple, but you got the little wind, and in the right corners, I think the max speed was 50 there. So there's always you can always slide out, and even if you're not sliding out, you can always make a crash in the corner, you switch lane if you're about to slide. So you have to stay cautious. I think I was happy with my performance and strategy there. I was attacking with like 1K to go because it's a hard course to, even if someone tries to follow, you're just turning all the time and you're switching lanes, so it's hard to get any draft. So probably attacking with 1K to go and just riding. Trying to ride solo, it's a solid strategy. At least for even if you don't win, you're probably gonna end up top 3 at least or something like that. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Love it. Now, Electric Fidget up next, Carl. What do you think about this that's in store for you?
Oh, don't mention it. Oh yeah, this is a course we probably no one have had enough practice on yet. So I think my advice to Sherry is probably, start slow and settle in. It's also long, this is a long one, so so probably go out slow and start building up the speed, the pace when you're feeling comfortable with it.
Well, you've got Carl's words of wisdom. I can't wait for Carl to crash as many times as Seb did after sharing his tips. Carl, good luck currently leading. We've got Nigel in 2nd place, who was fighting to close down the gap. He got back on. Nigel, that looked like an amazing race. It was back and forth, so many pack dynamics. Did that feel like a proper cycling race in there?
Yes, it did. And I did a cycling race outside last night. And it was very much like that, you know, jostling for position. So no, that was very close to outside racing.
Now we then turn, you know, the table on its head, because Electric Fidget, we heard briefly from Carl. What do you think of this, Nigel? Because I remember you, when you first got on the platform, you were like, fantastical, pfft, what's this? And now you're racing this.
Yeah, this is probably the most technical course we've got for corner speed, sliding out. I mean, it looks great, but wow, I think this is going to be a crash fest. If you haven't ridden it, and I haven't ridden it before, I mean, I've been around on a keyboard, but if you haven't ridden it, I think this is going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. On that note, let's get to hear from Sebastian, because we had a little bet going on earlier with how many crashes. Seb, 6 was the total amount of times you fell down earlier. Are we going to see 5? Could we see 4? Could we even be lucky enough to see 3 only?
You will not see any crash by me.
Oh, what are you willing to put up as, like, you know, damage? If you do crash, what's the forfeit?
I will not crash. I ride with a speed no more than 15k, so I cannot crash.
I didn't know Aaron Starlin had returned back into the broadcast. But no, Seb, good luck in the racing coming up next. Always fun to see. If you haven't yet seen the highlights of Zone E, you should definitely go back and watch Seb. By the way, Aaron, I'm sorry. Just bantering. It's only because I have to take over Zone T tonight at 3 a.m. my morning. I'm like, I could have been sleeping, but it was good to see Aaron perform well. We've got the scoreboard on the screen here once more. Carl's leading. The racing, by the way, starts in 48 seconds. So, final bit before the scoreboard starts. Carl, Nigel, Homer, Tammy, Quinton, Seb, Casey, Jeff. It is wide open. Like, after 2 races, anything can happen in here. It is far from a long gone conclusion here. Carl with a 5-point lead, 1-point lead over Homer. Homer earlier had a few crashes. I think if he's dialed it in, I think he could be a threat. Long, deceptively hard map. Let's see how it gets underway. 15 seconds is all that's left. We've got Casey Shum, we've got Carl, we've got Nigel, we've got Quinton, Sepp, Jeff, Ben, Vibeke on the broadcast here for Zone K. Remember, it is $30 for the winning rider scoring the most amount of points. John says, looks like everyone gets points just on a curve accelerating towards first. Yes, everybody scores points from first to 40, I believe, out on the map. So if you get 41st, I don't think you do, but Ben goes down early. Ryan goes down early as well. The first half of Electric Fidget isn't all that technical, so crashing early, lapping over the wheels here. It is Ben and Ryan simultaneously going down, less than optimal for the 2 riders out on the map, and we're seeing Casey Shum. When we spoke to Casey earlier today, he said he wanted to get away from all the distractions, get away from all the riders on the back here, as we're now seeing Casey Shum going on to the attack. He wanted to get away from all the other distractions because this is such a technical map where you need to know all the corner speeds. You see him slow down to 23. He comes safely on through. This is Quinton corner, but Quinton stays upright. As earlier today, Quinton crashing twice in that exact same corner where he let go of Timothy Tamut and Casey Shum. Jeff comes through. He crashes. Jonathan crashes. Tammy goes down. Rick crashes. And Quinton corner meets absolutely everybody as they go down. It's one of those corners that if you haven't practiced it, it sneaks up on you because you've got to brake much earlier than you think. You've got to brake prior to the corner, and we see a few riders gone down. It was 6 crashes in total for Sebastian Kuhn. I think he may not even have been the rider with the most amount of crashes. Jeff overlaps the wheels there again, and then he goes down, and all the bots ahead of him. I'm not sure if they're mocking him out on course or what they're trying to do, but they all go down as well as Carl was attempting to get back up. Casey and Quinton fighting it out in the front, separated on the scoreboard by 2.5 points currently. very high skill. It'll be interesting to watch Quinten versus Casey towards the end. I want to go back though to Jeff as Jeff is doing 1,000 equalized watts here, so he's like, this is me trying not to get interviewed by Jesper mid-race. I'm just going to give an all-out effort here, so there's no way he's coming back to me. So we'll let him come through this corner. He was at risk of crashing there for a second again, but he just stays upright. We will come back to him in a second again as we see Carl coming through the hairpins. He goes down to 23, 25, and then he crashes, and his face, he can't believe it. Bring that one up on the replay, because this is a place that in our practicing, in our play testing, it caught out me as well and my second producer, because it actually turns like right, like it's like a right, it's like a left, right, like it's tough to explain, but just before it turns the long way around, before it swings, it goes the opposite way, so you slide out before sliding it. That's such a bad explanation, but if I could draw on the screen, I would make more sense. Try electric fidget, try it on a controller, it is a lot of fun, as we see Carl. Jeff has just gone down again. Jeff, what is happening with all these crashes?
I can't count.
Are you trying to beat Seb's record? Is that what it is?
Oh, I must be off to a good start for that. I've got to win something.
Oh, that's the spirit. I'll give you bonus points per crash. So see where you can get as your teammate in the World Cup, not here in the Solo Cup, but friend as well, Carl Axel Sander, has crashed once more. We'll see. He's fighting to get back on Ben as Ben flies on by. It's a very technical track, said by Nigel to be the most technical track out available in CVRcade currently. If you bring up the scoreboard again though, you will see the situation on the road. And because of the prior racing unfolding like it did, especially with Casey and Quinten finishing 11th and 12th on Lakeview Corner, look how little separation is from 1st to 6th. So no matter how electric fidget plays out, dashed against the rocks will be the decider. It'll be the tiebreaker. It'll be the race where 3 laps across the volcano will watch the racers take on, which is a very soothing track. Very, very, very fun track to go on through. And we'll see it later on as Casey and Quinten pushes on through. So Casey at 188, Quinten at 189 here. And earlier today, Casey didn't crash a single time. When I asked Casey, what were you more satisfied with? What were you more proud of your achievements? Winning the race or not crashing once across 9.7 kilometers? He said the latter, not crashing a single time, as the two riders go head to head here. But Casey is pulling away. The 10-second differential here. Now Casey has used both his supers, his greater responsibility and his inertia here, and so have Quinten. They used them early in the racing to create that separation that they have gained now. And as the first lap comes to a close here with Casey Shum crossing the line, they now go again. Now, this map in particular, it's not only technical. There are gradients up to 5-6%, and especially the last long drag to the finish line, it is a long, windy 6% where you've got to fight the gradients on your bike. If you have a smart trainer, you'll feel the gradients kick up and you've got to push on through. As we can see, Casey and Quinten here, 11 seconds between them. We got Sebastian Kuhn as well down in third. I wonder what kind of music Casey is listening to right now as he's pushing on through. I can imagine it being some Flight of the Bumblebees, some classical music, because you've just got to get yourself into a rhythm here of pushing on through. And just, I mean, we see Sep now. Great responsibility super. He pushes everything he's got. 68 kilometers an hour, but he uses inertia at 61. If we've got that on a replay in a second, you'll notice that he could have had it 7 kilometers an hour quicker. As always, you don't know what Sep, what are you trying to tell me there?
I was looking for the right key and missed it.
Oh, I got it. I'll let you get back, Seb. Thank you. Third place, Sebastian Kuhn pushing on through. And if we roll up the replay here, look at the bottom. And as Seb's super runs out, he's currently at 68, 65, 64, 62, 61. He was looking at the right key, at the right gear, and it doesn't... Well, anyway, he's back up with Quinten, back up with Casey here. And now he's going to have to push on through. So all supers have been utilized from Sebastian, Quinten, and Casey on the front. Ben is moving up as well here down in fourth with Carl Axel Sander. We've already seen him crash twice, almost 3 times I think, as Sebastian empties the last super available, the underdog. 50 equalized watts for every rider ahead of him for 10 seconds, so 100 extra watts. It's essentially a power plant here for Sebastian Kuhn as he pushes on up. Fulford is asking Sepp, what is it with the gloves? We'll come back to Sebastian later on as Carl, the Swedish chef, who rode so brilliantly on the second race, has once more fallen down near the back. And if we go to the front, and we contrast it in a second with how Casey has ridden it. Because one thing that's worth mentioning is that Casey, prior to today, had the best time non-physical on electric fidget. So Casey has clearly spent the time on an Xbox controller trying to push every corner to the limit. You see him there, enter the corner on the inside, slide out, trust the slide, and then push it again. Every single corner, it's about optimizing the speed you can carry on through it, because 1, it means you have to spend less energy yourself, and 2, it means you keep your speed higher, which you come quicker through the track, and it's just more efficient. As we see Quinten and Casey, this is going to show down this is going to leave up to a great showdown on Dashed Against the Rocks, against pretty much the top 10 at this point. If you can see it on the left hand side, from Casey down to Vibeke, there's 50 points differential. But with this many riders in there, pretty much anything can happen. But halfway through the racing here on electric fidget, the situation on the road is Casey is leading. He's got a 10-second lead on Quinten Molinez. Quinten is 5 seconds ahead of Sebastian Kuhn. And then Sebastian is 30 seconds ahead of Ben, as Jeff Rooney, who was doing very well for himself, has just crashed once more out on the map. Ben is 10 seconds ahead of Carl. Carl is 4 seconds ahead of Jeff. Jeff 7 seconds ahead of Homer. Then you got Ryan, you got Jonathan, Vibeke, Nigel, and so on. As you see Ben slowing down, pushing on through here as he is getting to the technical section, or the most technical section of the map here. As it's the hairpins that he's got to maneuver as he pushes through. He's got pressure from behind, but Ben really wants to catch up to Sepp in front of him as well, as Sepp is only about 12 points ahead on the scoreboard ahead of him, 16 points. So Ben has got a chance to move on up if Sepp makes a mistake. And we have seen Sepp make mistakes today. He did fall down on Dashed Against the Rocks twice, as we're going to see the scoreboard on the screen again. Now Sebastian pushes on through. He's got the gloves on, but I wonder when the gloves will come off as he is pushing on through. 8 points is down currently. While this is happening, I know we've got Nigel down 11. We'll stay on Sepp here, but if you can turn on Nigel's audio, who's fighting further down. Nigel, most technical track available in CVRcade. How are you faring so far?
I need practice. I need to practice this. Wow. This is challenging.
I get it, Nigel. Make sure to get some. It is very early for Nigel Doyle in New Zealand, but so for Jeff. And Jeff is up in 6th, and it looks like Jeff had his right plan here for the racing. As once again, Casey Shum just reproducing what he did this morning. Make sure he did it even earlier. So I think in Sony, he came in, was a bit hesitant to make any moves before he knew the lay of the land. But after winning Zone E in quite confident fashion, he now comes into Zone K with a battle plan of, look, if I use my supers early, if I use Great Responsibility, if I use Inertia, and I get that initial gap, no one knows this map as well as I do. Nobody understands the corner speeds as well as I do. And he is now showcasing that by... Quinten is not taking any time back on him. Like, you look at their equalized heart rates, they're similar, they're pushing the same, but it's the knowledge of the map as Quinten attempts with an underdog. 50 equalized watts here. He's gaining his catch on back. He's trying it. 8 seconds, 7 seconds. It's coming back now as 2.7 kilometers is all that's left of the third race here on Zone K, as we're going to see how it unfolds. Casey's coming on. No, sorry, Sebastian too. I mean, this could come down to one mistake. Casey looks significantly fatigued here on the left. If you saw his face there just for a second, looks like he was getting very, very tired as the line was beckoning here. Quinton's heart rate is coming up to 192 equalized heart rate. Is what we're seeing from him as he's pushing on through. It is groups of ones and ones and ones. There's no wind out there. This is the map that has just caused utter carnage. As Ben has kept his super, Ben has actually still kept his greater responsibility. He pairs it with inertia, and we'll see if he can claw back some time. He does get away from Carl Axel Sander, but he's got to get back on with Seb. Jeff Rooney as well with great responsibility. 67 kilometers an hour. Then he uses inertia as well. He's catching back up to Carl. And what this is doing is it's changing the scoreboard ever so slightly. Riders are fighting for those extra points that they want to take with them to dash against the rocks. But Jeff's got a break here. He breaks very, very early here. Breaks way earlier than Carl. Some of that advantage he gained as he comes to the edge, and the facial expression tells you everything you need to know. He almost slid through that one and came out on the other side. 5 seconds is the gap between the two leaders, Casey, Quinton. Quinton can see Casey now, and Casey is trying to slow down. He slows down, he comes on through, and you can see his face here. Casey looks like he's flustered. Casey looks like he's feeling the pressure of Quinton here. 1.6 kilometers to go. Mixer chat, do you think Casey will do the double? Win Zone E and Zone K electric fidget? Or do you think the more smiley, the more... Oh, Quinton! Oh, Quinton pushes on through here. Him and Sebastian at the exact same time. I think, you know, Mixer, that may just seal it. That one mistake there at the very end from Quinton. Casey looked like he was on the verge of cracking as well. But we've got a race after this, everybody. We've got to go to dash against the rocks. So we'll see how that will fare, as that is 3 laps of another technical track with a hill in it, with corner caper, racer's edge, and underdog. We saw several emotions earlier today as it was Niels Heldens, it was Quinton Molineux, Sebastian, all crashing as well. So we see what's going to happen as Sebastian Kuhn, 8 seconds down. If he hadn't crashed at the exact same time as Quinton, he would have caught up to Quinton and possibly passed him. But simultaneously, they went down. Carl goes down again. Jeff Rooney is still on his tail. 6 seconds, there's still a possibility. Casey Shum is feeling the pressure. He's starting to crack. It's the last kilometer. The gap is coming down. 5 seconds, 4 seconds now as Quinton is pushing on through. Casey has been solo for so long. And Quinton saved a bit of energy earlier today. Didn't go as deep as Casey, I would imagine. But we'll see how much is he willing to spend, because it's one position. It is a 20-point swing in Quinton Molineux's favor if he was to catch Casey Shum here. 700 meters remaining. Tammy, despite an excellent performance in the last race, she now finds herself down through the rankings. Same for Homer, unfortunately, but it's Casey Shum. The gap is growing out. 7 seconds, 8 seconds. We're on the incline. It is 5% here, 5.4%. As they're pushing on through. Look at them standing up, grinding it. Quinton has got more watts. Quinton has got more power. 4 seconds. He's catching up. 600 equalized watts. 200 meters. He comes through the inside there. And Quinton Molineux breaks the spirit of Casey Shum. And now can Casey recover? He's just looking on. He doesn't fall on through. I thought it was over. The moment Quinton crashed, I thought no way he comes back. But as they hit the gradient, it is clear that Quinton just has that bit more in the tank. And that's where the difference is made. You can ride brilliantly all the way through like Casey Shum has, but it is Quinton Molineux with 200 meters to go. He now has a 6-second gap, and just like that, it swings in the favor of the Belgian, Quinton Molineux. In Zone E, he got a corner named after him. In Zone K, he goes out there and gets the whole track named after him, the whole map. He's happy with that one. Quinton fist pumping the air. Casey Shum brilliant effort nonetheless. Can be very happy with that. It's far from over as we head into Dashed Against the Rocks. Sebastian in third. You get Ben Shuilong out in fourth. He's got a 20-second gap to Carl and Jeff. We're still fighting it out. But what this does mean is Quentin is 18 points ahead here of Casey Shum on the scoreboard heading into Dashed Against the Rocks. The final race, the fourth race of Zone K. Sebastian and Carl currently tied. That will be broken. There's still another race, so it'll most likely be broken on the race. But if they were to be tied, it would be bonus points. That's the tiebreaker. And then it is final result, the final race that we do. Homer still in fifth, just hanging on to the points and the money in fifth as Ben comes on through. 5 minutes until the next race gets underway, which is Dashed Against the Rocks. I see we get Casey Badger saying, what a finish. DK says, what happened to Casey? And you got Fulford saying, great racing boys. Yes, we'll let Casey catch his breath as we've got the instant replay. But I think before we get to hear from Quentin as he crossed the line, we need to hear what happened to Casey, because Casey was up there, but you could just slowly see the demise. You could see the facade start to crack, starting to almost make a mistake, still didn't crash, but you could see him come through the corner, visibly react to him sliding out, hoping he crashed in time. And so here we go, 1 kilometer to go. This was the important segment. This was the decisive point in the race. Quentin, look on the right, 900 equalized watts. Casey just didn't have it here in the end. Casey, we're watching the instant replay. At what point did you start to feel the legs give out, if that is indeed what happened?
Yeah, I started regretting it at the beginning of lap 3, I think. I mean, still, it wasn't really, I mean, it's a result of Zone E, really. Just the legs are super fatigued from this morning. I mean, I actually set like another 60 and 90 watt PR this morning on Cade in the attack in race 2 on was at Lakeview Corners. And the legs just hurt. And that's a long race. It's a lot of kicks. And yeah, I mean, the fatigue's just there. And Quentin ran me down on that hill. For whatever reason, I couldn't find my groove to settle in on the hill there.
Now we go to Dashed Against the Rocks, a race earlier where you secured your victory. Now you're trailing. How does that change your mindset from earlier today?
Here it's just, I don't know. I need to watch Seb on this one. I mean, there's a couple places where I think I could do better on this course from this morning. This one's also a power course too, though, so. And it's getting out to the traffic is tough. Kind of working your way to the front if you don't end up in the top 5 on the sprint, which is really hard for me right now. My curve does not allow me to get out of the gate really well. So I've got to figure that out.
Well, Casey, good luck. Great effort on Electric Fidget. Brave move to go very early. I wish you the best of luck on Dashed Against the Rocks. Let's hear from the man of the hour so far, Quentin. What a comeback. I mean, when you crashed just before the end there, I think many had counted you out, but you stuck with it. Did you know you had that in you towards the end?
I knew I had that in me, but I thought that Casey would have had the same thing in his legs left. I just made a stupid mistake coming into the corner. I was trying to get into the most inside lane first and then start braking. And for whatever reason, if you try to steer right or left and you don't let go of the button before you start pushing down on the down arrow, you won't start braking because the game won't think you're pushing down the button. So I had to release the button and then tap it again to start braking, so it was too late by then.
Got it. Now, this race, Quentin, earlier today wasn't the best of experiences, but I think it's safe to say that you have clearly turned it around here. Are you confident in your ability to maintain the lead here now?
Yeah, I hope so. This one hurt last time around. I need to stay focused on this one because just as the last one, you can make so many mistakes on this and you can crash everywhere. So it's just a matter of keeping the focus and keeping the power as well. So it's going to be a very tough last race.
I cannot wait to see. We heard Casey mention Sebastian as a threat. Sebastian, Electric Fidget, fewer crashes this time around. Third place, you absolutely demolished the competition earlier today. Have we reached Angry Sepp?
No, I'm lucky with only one crash. I had to take every risk to close up to the front, and the risk was 1K too much. But I did much better than in the first race in the Zone E. So next time, I think I can make it without a crash.
I like it. We're just gonna come back for more here, Seb, but it is so incredibly close, Seb. I wish you good luck here, Quentin, Casey, Carl, everybody else in the broadcast. We look at the scoreboard. You can see Quentin 126, Casey at 108.7, Seb at 108, Carl at 108. Top three, if you exclude Quentin at the top, are all within 0.7 of a point here. Dashed against the rocks. Mountain bike track in the game. One corner caper, one racer's edge, one underdog. This one is about who wants it more. This one is about who practiced it more. This is going to be great racing. Quentin, Casey, Seb, Carl, Axel, Sander. But don't look too far off the back. Homer Thompson, currently in 5th, is looking like he may be able to take home some money here today if he can push on through as Quentin Molyneux starts the racing off here. The last race of Zone K. Don't go anywhere though, because we do have Zone L coming up after this. 4 more races with some of the familiar faces and some of the new faces. And now it is Sebastian who goes down. He overlaps the wheels. He doesn't check his rear view mirrors. Make sure we've got that saved in the replay for later. But Sebastian Kuhn falls on down. Ben Shuilong is in here. And with that, Ben moves into 3rd place. With Sebastian taking such a deep tumble, he's not even in the top 17 right now. You see that Ben moves up, Homer moves up, Carl moves off the top 5. But it is Casey Shum versus Quentin Molyneux. 0.2 of a point is the difference here. Both of them are looking to get 20 bonus points. And it's Ben Shuilong ruining the Quentin Molyneux party right now as he's in between. He is the raisin in the cookie here as he's trying to take away a good result and push himself up into top 3 and take home some valuable points on this Zone K racing day in the CVRcade Solo Cup. Ben Shuilong in 2nd, Casey in 1st, Quentin, Ryan with a good result. But can we talk about Homer Thompson having, I want to say a breakout performance because Homer races everything, but today he's been solid. 2nd in Aqua Velo. Then Lakeview Corner, he was up there. He was again top 5 on Electric Fidget, and now if he can save this, he may find himself in the top 5, but he doesn't dodge the rocks. Let's go back to the front. And that's Homer Thompson falling down, hitting the obstacles, and the same thing happens to Ben. Those rocks met some friends earlier today as Vibeke Bertram as well on the left falls down. But this time, it is now Ryan Goldenberg who has taken the spot of Ben Shuilong. Casey may have depleted his results as Casey crashes down or his reserves towards the end of Electric Fidget. But this time, he's got it left here. But he needs somebody between him and Quentin in order to take the win here. He needs to rely on Nigel Doyle to come through with another extreme performance like he had this Saturday for Velocity, Team Velocity. Now, Nigel, Jeff chasing on up. We've got the scoreboard. Can keep it up from here on till the end. As you see, Sebastian has returned. He is top 3. And if Nigel, he's also racing for his own glory here. If he catches up to Quentin and passes him, he's looking to move into top 3 as well. And there is a $5 differential there. So money is money, plus the points, plus the seeding for the grand finale come the end of the CVRcade Solo Cup. But Casey did say he had some things to practice, some things to master on this specific map. And right now, we're seeing Quentin starting to gain on Casey Shum here as he is closing it down now. You can see a few times pushing it on through. You got Ben making his way back. You got Sebastian, who for a while here was not even in the top 17, is now in 7th place. Homer, Vibeke, Tammy, Carl, Axel, Sanders down in 11th. Bit of a fall from glory there as he may find himself outside of the top 5 come the end, but Quinten is pushing it through. He's going for the risky overtake here on the descent, and like that, Quinten has taken the lead here. 1 for Quinten, 2 for Casey. But then we look further down as Nigel also passes Casey. Casey saying he set PB numbers in Zone E, and he's now paying for that effort here in Zone K, having to push on through it. He's got to be careful because you could have Jeff Rooney catch on up. And if... Oh, Nigel! What just happened there? I was looking at the scoreboard. Can we bring that up again? Because I was looking on the scoreboard. Nigel on the right of Quinten. He pushes on through and he simply slides through the corner, exceeding the corner speed there. Nigel Doyle, who for a moment had a chance to be second. Keep this in mind. Nigel Doyle, for a second there, was in second place almost, ahead of Casey Shum. He's now in 7th place as he now comes back. But it is all up for grabs here. The points are changing all over the place. This is Jeff Rooney in the orange coming back. You've got Quinten and Casey in the matching blue kit as Nigel with a racer's edge. He's got Sebastian Kuhn as well. This is far from over. Casey has got to be defending his 2nd spot on the overall from Sebastian Kuhn. He moves on to the right here. You've got the side-by-side from the 2 racers as he's trying to force a mistake. Casey got Jeff up against the barriers and he's trying to force a mistake here. He wants Jeff to slide into him and try and fall down, but it's not going to be the case. Meanwhile, Quinten is riding off. I think at this point, Casey may be more concerned on keeping his 2nd place in the Omnium here and taking home the money, because when Casey looks over his shoulder, there's Jeff Rooney in orange, there's Sebastian Kuhn in the blue, and Nigel Doyle as well, as Jeff stands up. And the bull races again here. He pushes through. He's got to be careful he doesn't slide out, but he leaves Casey in the dust. He uses corner caper. He comes on through. And can Jeff Rooney move up? Yes, he does. This puts Jeff in 3rd. 4 points off Casey, and Casey gets past. Jeff is in 3rd, but Sebastian is in 2nd. It is moving all over the place down from Quinten, but Quinten currently safe as well. 600 meters to go. The finale on Dashed Against the Rocks from an action-packed Zone K here in the CVRcade Solo Cup is Jeff on the left in the orange. It is Quinten on the right. He uses Racer's Edge. I think he's got a corner caper available still, as Casey as well does also have a corner caper. There goes Quinten. 195. Casey comes back. 193. Nigel goes down. That puts him out of the top 5. It is Quinten. It is Casey. It will be Quinten Molyneux, bearing any crashes, riding this through to the end. Quinten Molyneux will take the victory as Jeff once more goes on down. We're on the pier. Start finish banner for Quinten Molyneux. Excellent result. You get the fist pump, you get the celebration as Jeff manages to crash twice in the last 100 meters. Casey crosses the line. Oh, Casey gets the sprint finish ahead of Sepp. That was a direct head-to-head for the finale. If we've got the replay of Casey versus Sepp, that would be a good one to save, because that sprint finish was literally for 2nd place, and Casey Shum came over the line first. Jeff, Nigel versus Ben, all teammates now, opposing teams, individuals in this one. Vibeke, great Omnium for her, and breathe. Dashed Against the Rocks is an excellent map. Good racing all around. Can we bring up the scoreboard one last time? Quinten, Casey, Seb, Carl, Ben, Nigel. Ben and Nigel are tying, so it'll come down to bonus points, which I think Nigel will win. Let's have a look at the instant replays there towards the end. Now, we do have, in 5 minutes time, Zone L. It is physical. Remember, guys, those of Xbox, Tuesday, every single zone is physical. Thursday, you've got crossplay. Saturday, you've got crossplay. But we've got more racing in the CVRcade Solo Cup. We've got more exciting racing here as we're going to see the finish. Another finish here on Zone L with Electric Fidget. Very exciting. We're going to see Lakeview Corner. We're going to see Aquavello. We're going to see Dashed Against the Rocks as well. So we get Quentin Molyneux pushing on through. You can see the scoreboard moving all over the place there in the final 500 meters. Jeff managed to crash not only once but twice on the final rocks. So it is dashed against the rocks, but if you want a good chance of getting a good score, you may want to stay away from the rocks. As you can see, the final few changes. Quentin, we've got you on audio. Congratulations. We get a few good celebrations from you today, but that was back and forth for a while there. Casey had you beat on the scoreboard. I mean, talk me through that experience.
Well, nothing like a little bit of friendly competition. To be honest, it was anyone's game, I think. I was very, very uncertain about the corner speeds in the bit before the finish line, and so I was very, very wary of it. I was looking at Casey in the first lap to see if I could pick up on the corner speeds, and then I think I did, and I don't know, I had a little bit more punch in the legs. I think Casey's curve's a little bit unfortunate for this race, but well, you got to race with what you got.
Are you back for more here in Sonel?
Back for more lactic acid, yeah.
I love it. So. I love it. Quentin, well done. We've also got Casey in here in the broadcast. Let's get a quick word from Casey. What a finale, Casey. I mean, everyone brought their A game. Heads up sprint with Sebastian. I saw your reaction as you crossed the line. I mean, that was close.
Yeah, I didn't know the line was that close. I sprinted hard. You know, it's that I want to sprint head down, but I also want to look to, like, I don't want to sprint that hard if I don't have to. And I looked up and, you know, Seb was like 950 and I was 970. And I'm like, oh, because he had a head of steam coming out around in that last corner. But yeah, I mean, that was a great last race. I knew going into it, I can't remember who all it was. It was me, Seb, and somebody else, like 1 point apart. And I couldn't remember in the race if it was Ben or Nigel or Jeff or who was that close to me. And they were all around me. And, you know, really, like, second lap, I really had given up. Like, not that I didn't want to win, but I wasn't as concerned about passing Q as not giving up second place, because Jeff was hounding me and Seb was hounding me and Ben was there. So then I was just like, everybody flung the power-ups that last, and everybody used them different. I think that's what was awesome on this course. The power-ups aren't super powerful, or the supers aren't super powerful the way they're set up on this course. So everyone used them in a little different way, and we all got an advantage out of them at different places. But it made for a lot of back and forth on that last lap. Honestly, I thought when I got through those last corners, and somebody had wrecked, I think Jeff, I kind of thought I was home free. I kind of sat up. And I looked in my rearview mirror and I saw Seb coming with the pink road under him, which is the corner caper. And I was like, uh-oh, I got to go now. But I couldn't sprint yet because I was at corner speed. So, I don't know, good racing. That was fun.
You know it's good racing when you can talk through every decision through the race. That was makes CVRcade so fun. Thank you, Casey, and thank you for bringing your A game. Before we hear from Seb, because I think Seb is racing the next zone as well, but I want to hear from Nigel, because Nigel Doyle went from second place in the Omnium in 1 second to 7th place later on. Nigel, that was a roller coaster of a fair. I mean, talk me through that.
Yeah, I crashed. I don't know. I lost count of how much I crashed on the electric fidget. So that cost me a lot, and then dashed against the rocks. I thought I was doing all right, but I miscalculated the corner speeds. I've got a map, but I'm having trouble reading it, so I'll be redoing it today so I can read the speeds. So I could have done better on that last one.
Well, Nigel, there's always Zone T again tonight, which I hope I'll see you.
That's right.
I'll see you back for that. 1 minute remaining. We did have a question in the chat saying who will be racing the next one. We've got Ryan Goldenberg, Viveka Bertram, Timothy Tamont, who I just see has something special to show in a second. Quentin Molyneux, Ben Shuey along, Homer Thompson. Those will be your racers here with 40 seconds to go. We've got the kit from Timothy Tamont, the official Team Hive kit, which will be awesome to see. If we've still got Sep in the call, I'm looking, I think we do. We can get a finishing touch here from Sep. Seb, that last race, head-to-head sprint finish. I see you're bringing out your inner rapper. I'm not sure what this is, but how was Dashed against the rocks for you?
Casey trapped me in the first corner. I wanted to be the first one in the corner because I knew you slide out with that speed, but he was next to me, and I changed the line and crashed and found myself way behind the bots, and it was a hard effort to pass the bots. They took all the lines, nearly all the lines, and come back to the front. But I'm toasted for now. Tomorrow there's a time trial from my in real life team, so I won't be last there, so I don't race the next zone.
I got you, Seb. I love that. Is the quickest way to getting you angry. Early crash, all the bots are taking up the lanes. Surest fire way to get you on back. Thanks for racing both zones here today. We're in our third zone of the day. Zone L, 6 riders take to the start line. Quentin with tired legs. Timothy in here. We got Ryan. I'm sure we can get Ryan into the broadcast. I'm sure we can get Homer as well, I would hope, as he's been on a great performance so far today. But Aquavello, speed differential from this race to the last one, it's a bit slower, it's a bit more sedated, but that just means the sprint finish will be that much quicker. There was some love in the chat for Timothy Tamont's Hive jersey. It just happens to be from his two teammates, Ben Shuilong and Jennifer Garcia, so we'll see. Two riders definitely love it. Now they just happen to be on the same team. Ben with a gel, Ben with some water in there. He gets ready for another set of races. Once more, we'll find out who will walk away with $30, $20, $15, $10, and $5 for the top 5. Big shout out to everybody who stuck around for Zone L. I see Wim has been in the chat, Lantrell Storm, KC Badger, Mutt KG as always, DK Mansuni, Quentin Spitfire, saw Fulford T earlier as well. Thank you as always. As we get ready, we got Vibeke Bertram as well, who is on the screen there for a second. I think she may have just swapped calls, but that's fine. We'll get her in the right one. But Quentin just trying to... I think it's a mix of trying to cool down the legs while keeping them warm. You've got to rest the body, but nope, shaking the head going, nope, there's just none of that. Let's just go straight on into it. We'll see what's going to happen here. 700 meters, no comeback kits yet. No one's been dropped off the back. 10 riders, all looking at each other. 2 laps remaining here. Ben's at 147, Ryan at 148. You got Vibeke at 182, so we got Homer at 187. It was Homer with an early attack as Quentin trying to catch somebody out. We might see Homer with a long-range attack succeeding here if he chooses to stick with it again, because fewer riders means less drafting, means more opportunity of a really long-range attack going. It's 200 meters. No one has gone yet. What is everybody waiting for? It is clearance in aisle 4, and there is Timothy Tamont. He sees the reduced aisle. He goes for it. He doesn't want to give Quentin the draft. This could be an excellent move from Timothy Tamont. He pushes through, and he takes the win. That may have been the smartest move I've seen in a low-scale event in a long time. Instead of sticking with it, he gives up the draft and moves on in. Roll up the replay as he points to the Hive kit. Watch this finale. Quentin and Timothy, they launch at the same time, but it's advantage Quentin when the sprint launches, because Quentin is in the draft and Timothy gets none. Timothy recognizes this, moves to the right, and once he's far enough behind, he moves to the left again and uses the draft to make that decision. That time is bold, but now that could only really happen with fewer riders in there. But look at this sprint, side by side. Very, very brave move, and it pays off, taking 4 points ahead of Quentin Molyneux. Vibeke 3rd, Ben 4th, Ryan 5th, Homer in 6th. Timothy, that move, I mean, talk me through that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was no way I was going to win that if I just stayed in that lane. Because you can't really stop sprinting and go again, because that's too much of a speed differential. So I was like, okay, I'll just go 1 to the left and keep went to the right and keep sprinting. Quentin had more speed, so then I went back and yeah, you saw. Yeah, I was surprised how good that worked. It was just a spur of the moment, but yeah, good start to the Somnium. Let's keep it going.
How about the kid, by the way? Take us on a tour. Take us on a tour.
It arrived like 10 minutes after Zone E finished, so I was like, that's good. Because I didn't even know it was coming today. Saturday, the company sent it to DHL, and yeah, it already arrived from China from here, so had a quick wash, and yeah, it's I'm really happy how it turned out. We got the name on the back, with the logo in the big. We got the Belgian flag on the sides. Yeah, I'm really happy. And finally getting bonus points. Woo!
Well, once you have the matching kit in game, yes. Finally getting...
I was told I would get bonus points because the kit is in the game, but due to some glitch, I can't actually ride in it yet. So I will be getting bonus point, I was told.
So yes, the team will look into it, of course, but Timothy Tamont, very, very confident in his ability to get bonus points. But Quentin came second in that sprint. Let's hear Quentin. Who's got the best kit, Team Hive or Team Cycling Hub?
I don't think that's a fair question. One kit looks just amazing and has a very good tradition behind it, and the other one is just shipped from China. So, I mean, is that really a question?
Well, I'll let everybody figure out which one is which in that regards. But Quentin, we go again here. Third Omnium of the day. We saw Casey crack quite hard on Electric Fidget. Your legs? Is there a Casey fearing around the corner?
Yeah, I think my legs are starting to crack up as well. I wanted to say props to Timothy for using that tactic in the sprint. That was very well thought of and properly executed as well, so kudos.
Sportsmanship, everybody. At the end of the day, shaking hands. Quentin and Timothy. That was high level plays, but we've got Quentin, we've got Timothy, but we've also got somebody who we haven't really heard much from yet here today. Vibeke Bertram in the racing. Vibeke, we saw you enter, but that was about the last bit. Zone K, maybe something to forget. What about Zone L here?
Well, Zone K was just a warm-up for me here, so knew there was some technical courses today, so I figured I need to ride them before really having to race them. So that was Zone K for me. L, hoping the legs are getting better.
There's only one way to know, and that's when the racing gets underway. But I like your dedication with what may be the longest possible warm-up to a zone. But Vibeke, good luck here in Lakeview Corners as he gets ready to race. I see we've got Ryan Goldenberg joining us in the broadcast. It's been a while, Ryan, but welcome back to the broadcast. You mingled with the best in Zone K. Now you're getting ready again in Zone L.
I don't know if I was mingling. I think I was way off the back or crashing all over the course. But yeah, it's always fun to race. I'm pedaling slow so that you don't hear my trainer. I'm on a different device today. Seems to be cutting about 30%, best I can say, off my sprint power. So, I would have beat Timothy and Quentin and all the rest if it weren't for that last event.
I hope somebody out there is keeping track of all the excuses ever delivered on a CVRcade live stream, because we could write a pretty solid book that could be a bestseller, like excuses to live by. But Ryan, regardless, I'm glad to have you in here. Good luck, even if you are on a new turbo trainer. Now, it is physically equalized, so it doesn't really matter what equipment you are on, but you do get equalized to the equipment you start riding on. So if you're equalized to a device you've been on for a long time and you swap, you may see that when you swap, you're going to have to start over and get equalized to that device, of course. 40 seconds to go. Lakeview Corner in Zone E, brilliant to watch. Zone K, oh man, amazing as well. Zone L, I think it'll be more of the same here. Do make a note, everybody. This is not the last stream of the day. Victor and I will be back later for Zone T. My first Zone T since earlier than Christmas. It was good to see Luis again this last Saturday. I'm excited to see Daniel LeBlanc. I'm excited to see the rest of the crew in Zone T tonight, which is one of the amazing zones that are available in CVRcade, in the CVRcade Solo Cup. As we get ready, Lakeview Corner, very tactical race out here. You've got to make sure you're in the right position at the right time. Ben, Quentin, Timothy, Wiebke off to a hot start. This is where we saw Tammy Woods come out of nowhere and pull in an amazing performance to get a second place. Almost, it would have been first if it wasn't for the Swedish chef Carl Axel Sander, who got in the way here. Casey says, I have a special treat for Zone T. Are you bringing the snacks, Casey? I mean, we got all the American candy here, which, by the way, Vanessa and whoever else sent it, Sharon, Kathy, Kayla, thank you so much. I tried Whoppers for the first time today, and they're basically like Maltesers, but they don't taste like Maltesers. So you expect them to taste like Maltesers, but because they don't taste like them, you're like, I wish this was Maltesers. But nonetheless, great candy. I mean, Victor absolutely loved the what are they called? The spicy lollipops. He finished those off. So they were his favorite, but each to their own. The American candy, something that we need to bring back on stream, but something I found very difficult to eat candy while trying to commentate professionally. Who would have figured? But we see 5 riders taken to the front. Homer's legs seem to have taken a bit of a hit from the previous zone, which is no surprise. What Homer Thompson did in Zone K is just impressive. So not surprised that he might be using this one to cool down, and we'll see him back for Zone T racing later tonight. But this zone's Lakeview Corner is taking a very different approach. We're seeing the riders here not staying together, not sticking with each other. They each kind of want to just get away and get a gap, and they've actually dropped Quinton Molyneux here in the 1.5 scoring multiplier event. It may be part of Quinton's strategy here, just riding this one through. You can see the approval. Quinton, is this a strategy you're trying to impose?
Yeah, well, because I did Zone E and I did Zone K, so my legs are not that fresh anymore. And since this is like the 1.5 multiplier, and the next two are both 2.5, I figure I'm not gonna try and kill myself again. I'll just go easily.
Well, Quentin, I could be a good move for you because the last race you came 11th and you still ended up on the other side. So strategic, Quentin, I'll let you get back to the right. But meanwhile, in the front, Vibeke Bertram has overlapped the wheels and gone down here. She has made a crash here. Can she get back on? It's only 3 riders ahead of her. So if she gets back on here and exerts some energy and rides on through, even she can use the bot. She's got Sally, she's got Ada, she's got Hedo, she's got bot Quentin out there. So a few riders to choose from to try and get on the wheel and hide from the 7-kilometer-an-hour wind that is available. I did see Casey Batcher saying, Jesper and Victor cranking out Zone T as well. 4 in one day. They must sleep a bit, but not sure when. Well, it is mainly usually Victor that does the 4 zones in a day, so he's the real hero who may need a cape in here. You've got the chat is rather lively as well, as you got Casey saying I prefer Burger King Whoppers. What's per kilo doesn't matter in Cateland. Isn't that the best thing, Casey? Is that food? I mean, you can eat what you want, you can do what you want, and as long as you stay on top of your knowledge of the maps, you're quite competitive. I mean, you spending that time on a controller and a keyboard definitely pulled on through, as John and Sushi Salmon shares his thoughts on equalization and how endurance factors in. But we're seeing Ryan and Timothy here on the front. Timothy was second earlier today in Zone E. Now with a matching kit, he's trying to push through. Ryan looks like he's having a good time. He's bouncing around on his new turbo trainer here, so not used to seeing that. But you see Timothy move all the way right, all the way left. And so Ryan has the CVRcade controllers, which means he doesn't really have to move his hand. But notice Timothy, every single time he has to change the lane. Look again, there it is. Look at the right arm. Every single time he has to lean forward, exert energy, and he does it again. You can save it while Ryan has got it all on the hoods, the handlebar of his bike. You know, optimizing the efficiency of everything is key in CVRcade. Your drafting, your lane changing, your cornering, your super usage, all comes down to the small things that add up over time. Two riders have gone on to the attack. Ben, 13 seconds down. It looks like Quinton's strategy here to save his legs have actually really pulled off for him, because Quinton could come third in this one without spending all that much energy. Meanwhile, Timothy and Ryan here with 1.8 kilometers to go are 186, 181 equalized heart rate. So the two of them together, perhaps spending more energy than necessary, but that is a risk you're going to take out here. You don't know how the race behind you is going to be raced, and you can only decide for yourself how you want to race it. Looking on the scoreboard, you can see on the left here, you can see Timothy provisionally leading. You got Ryan, you got Quinton, you got Ben. Everything is rather close currently. As we've got Uncrashable, Power Plant, and the Wind, who's going to go first here? Two riders in a solo attack. Ben Shuilong is 15 seconds down, so he's going to have a tough time making it up. But we see now it's Timothy in the wheel of Ryan. He accelerates a tiny bit here, but Timothy's awake to it. This is some high equalized watts. I mean, they're all around 500. And for a while now, they have not come below 400. So these two riders are pushing on through. We're going to watch this to the end here, because these two riders will be battling it out for the win on the front here. Let's see, Timothy, Ryan, 1K to go here. Ryan is increasing his gap now. He is moving on up as we're trying to see what Timothy is going to do, as what is happening through this final 800 meters. Ryan has got a gap. I don't think this is all or nothing for Timothy soon, but I think Ryan Goldenberg with a 3-second gap here might be riding away with the victory here on Lakeview Corner. Didn't really put in an explosive attack, didn't need to, as he just optimized his way of riding through the map here. And 6 seconds, 7 seconds, the gap is now increasing. With 500 meters to go, he would take 45 points, 6 points more than Timothy Tamont, 11 points more than Ben Shuilong. As you got 400 meters left, 8 seconds, 9 seconds, and just like that, the gap has increased. And now we've got Allison saying, did I miss Electric Fidget? You missed it for Zone K. You can watch it again on YouTube or the highlights on Facebook later. We'll be doing Zone L's Electric Fidget just after this race. So you haven't missed it, Allison. Electric Fidget is up next. There's a battle further down here as they cross the finish line. Quinton and Vibeke and Ben here are all fighting out for the third spot here. You got Ben with Uncrashable. You got Quinton, who's been saving his energy. He uses Uncrashable. Vibeke with Uncrashable as well. Can she come back? 199. She's on her limit here. And they come on through and cross the start-finish line. Ben will be 5th, and then you've got Homer Thompson further down. But Ryan wins, Timothy 2nd, Quinton will be 3rd, then you got Vibeke 4th, and Ben 5th. And that, as always, leaves it wide open as we head into Electric Fidget, our next race up here. As you see them come across the line once more, the highlights. Two riders on the front here, Ryan and Timothy, sharing the workload, but at the end it just looked like Ryan rode away. We'll get Ryan's word on it here in a second, but as MuttKG says in the chat, Vibeke went pretty hard. She was at 199 there in the sprint come the end, so she gave it everything. It wasn't enough to come by Quinton, who had a different strategy on that Lakeview corner, as he opted to stay on back, and in the end it paid off. A very solid 3rd place for Quinton. He is 9 points down on Timothy. He's 3.5 points down on Ryan as it stands. We'll see how Electric Fidget plays out here. We got Ryan in the broadcast. Ryan, it just looked like you and Timothy were just trying to optimize every corner. Was that how it worked? Because suddenly you just had a gap.
Yeah. Part of me thinks we were working together, although I think Timothy was on my wheel a lot of the time. But I think he was a lot of times he was over one lane. So I think he was trying to get me to go on the inside and make a mistake. So sometimes I did take the longer way around. But yeah, I avoided crashing, which is more than I can say a lot of the events last Omnium. So that definitely helps. And then I think, just not being at the front the last Omnium, I sat back a little bit, and I might have a little bit more legs this time around.
Well, I'm excited to... Oh, I was going to say, hopefully, as always, but I'm excited to see Electric Fidget. Third time today here, we're seeing it on the stream. Quentin, tired, maybe it'll be time for somebody. Now everybody's gone through it. We'll see how it goes. Thank you, Ryan, and good luck in Electric Fidget. We got Timothy, who was second out there. 4 minutes until the next race begins. But Timothy, from your point of view, what happened towards the end there? Because you were with him, but it looked like you maybe opted not to go all in.
Yeah, definitely. We didn't really work together much. I got to be honest, I sat on his wheel way too much for it to be called working together. And I wasn't trying to crash him. I was sitting next to him because of the wind. So that's why I wasn't sitting one lane across. But yeah, I maybe would be able to follow his last attack, but I set up and I was thinking about these next two events. Because, yeah, these are the big ones, so got to go all in here.
All in. The strategies are being deployed. And speaking of strategy, third overall, Quentin, you opted to stay on back, but, I mean, to me, that looked like it paid off in spades for you.
Yeah, it did, I think. I got lucky because there's not that many people in the race. And then I got lucky because CVRcade crashed, and I think I don't think Ben cracked. I think he maybe worked a little bit for Timothy. I'm not sure. But I got lucky that Ben also came back to the bot. So yeah, then it was just a matter of timing that last kilometer and just hoping that you have more in your legs than they do.
Well, that paid off for you this time. Now we get ready for Electric Widget. We all think we know what this entails now, but it could play out totally different. Good luck here in this one. Quentin, who sits third. Now, Viveka, the chat is rooting for you. DK Mansuni, Mutt KG, Allison Duck, they love seeing that sprint towards the end. 199 equalized heart rate. I mean, whew, that's a lot on Lakeview Corner.
Yeah, well, I was really warm this time, so, and I know this course I'm not able to go this fast, so I knew if I could go all in and on the last one. Unfortunately, I crashed. I had hoped to go higher, but, well, if you crash, you can't expect to get so many points, so that's the way it is.
As you say that, I see you crashing on the screen, so try and keep the rubber side down in this one. 1:30 until the next race. I do see we've been joined by Homer Thompson, and I would love to get a word here, as I think he may have just left. Oh, never mind, he is in here. We got Homer. Homer, now we get ready for Zone L, but first I want to talk to you about Zone K. What got into you? That was an amazing effort across all 4 races.
I don't know. I didn't come out very good, so it wasn't that amazing, I don't guess.
Well, you were up there, Homer. I mean, you were 6th or 7th towards the end, 2nd on the first race, Electric Fidget. Now, Zone L in this one, how much is left and what are you anticipating from yourself?
I'm not really anticipating a whole lot. I don't need to make any excuses to lose here, so I think I've already lost it, so...
I don't know about that. The chat is loving you, Homer, so we'll see. I'm sure that can get some energy back in. 35 seconds to go. Good luck, Homer, and thank you for joining the broadcast here in Zone L. So these are the scores you're seeing. Timothy 69, Ryan 64, Quentin 60.5, Vibeke, Ben, and Homer, and that is about to completely change up as we go to 3 laps of Electric Fidget. There's no Casey Shum this time. There is Quentin, but question marks are upon him whether or not he's got the legs to go deep again. Ryan saved something up. Vibeke has been saving something up. Timothy is back here, who will push on through to take the 3rd race today on Electric Fidget. Here we go. 9.7 kilometers. By now, we've seen the early start. It's Timothy Tamont with an early underdog here. 1300 equalized watts. He pushes on through, and Timothy, just like that, with the early pressure, he falls down, and he goes way down into 13th. He's got the smile. He can't believe it. He's got the face palm even as well there, as now he's got to push on through, and taking advantage of this is Quentin Molinez. Greater responsibility than inertia, but Ben may have pressed the wrong button here. I think he uses inertia and he can't believe it. Ben, we've got to get that on audio. Ben, what just happened?
Yeah, I totally pressed the wrong button.
Oh. At least you don't hit them both at the same time. That would have been different. You still got one left, Ben. Thanks for being on audio. Ben Shuilong with a fat fingering of the inertia, trying to react to Quentin, but just isn't to be for Ben. Timothy with an early mistake, and another mistake here, and he can't believe it. Timothy, what are you thinking there? Why are you objecting?
I'm choking. Oh man. Yeah, I thought it was clear of the corner. It wasn't. Oh man.
It can happen. It can happen.
2 more laps.
It can happen, Timothy. It's still early on in the race, but on the front, oh, as Timothy almost goes down again there on the edge, is Quentin. As Ryan, Vibeke, and Timothy, as I say that, all simultaneously go down in the same corner. They crash, they come together, 3 riders pushing on through, and it is just night and day between the front and the back. Homer with great responsibility this time. He is up to 63 kilometers an hour here, and he pushes on through. He wants to get away from his trailing group of riders, and he wants to catch up to Ben, who is he's 12 seconds up the road from him currently. You heard from him that he doesn't need any excuses in this one. I think we're just going to see Homer empty the tank on Fidget and then look towards to getting to dashed against the rocks. But if you are looking to get better at electric fidget, I think it's definitely worth opening up a physical replay and looking as Timothy goes down again, looking at Quentin, looking at Casey and how they are racing electric fidget, because this is the 3rd time in a row those 2 individuals have really put on a display, and it's partially due to the early supers being utilized, and then it comes down to just maintaining the gap as Ryan goes down. We got the chat. Timothy crashes once more. Sebastian says, electric fidget does not look so bad when you watch it sitting in a chair. Well, Seb, don't blame you. You got Truth is happy that we've got Homer in the stream as well. I am happy as well. Here's our top 2 leaders out on course currently. You've got Quentin Molinez with an 8-second lead on Ben Shuilong. Now, Quentin has used both his supers. That is his great responsibility and his inertia. He does have the underdog available here, but with nobody in front of him, it's going to be tough to use as we see Vibeke crash further down. Ben, though, does have greater responsibility that he may be able to use, but it is split out on the front. You've got Homer on his own, you've got Vibeke on his own, on her own, and then you've got Ryan Goldenberg and Timothy Tamont here on secondary positions, as you can see the scoreboard. Quentin 135, Timothy 116, Ben 114, Vibeke 107, Ryan 06, and then Homer at 100. So except for the outlier, that's Quentin on the top, everybody within 16.5 points from 2nd to 6th here, as we're watching Ryan once more. On the front, though, this could be heating up. Let's pay close attention to the heart rates of Quentin Molinez and Ben Shuilong here. 7 seconds is the gap, but Ben's equalized heart rate is 15 beats lower as Homer crashes here. So 15 beats lower. We've got just over 2 laps remaining here as we're on the steepest segments. You can see Quentin, he may be starting to struggle because towards the end of Zone K, we saw what happened to Casey. A prolonged effort, a really tough effort, took a toll on him, took the energy out of him. And we might have a bit of deja vu here on our right with Quentin Molinez. I like Allison saying, go Quentin, Timothy, Weber, and Homer. when you want to cheer at everybody and you can't just choose one. She chooses Carl instead. That's the best you picked all day, Alison. That's the best choice. Carl with a C, that is our cameraman out on the map. But Ben on the left. Gap is 13 seconds now. It's not going in the right direction for Ben here. He's going 8 kilometers an hour quicker, but he's not gaining just yet. In third place, we've got Homer Thompson, who is being closed in here by Vibeke Bertram. She is 2 seconds down, 3 seconds down. Just barely can see her over the rear view mirror here. And Homer, Vibeke, Timothy, and Ryan are all going to come back together here as we enter the last 2 laps of racing here. Homer has been racing. This is his 3rd zone of the day together with Quentin Molyneux. So both of them have pushed really hard. Then Homer slides on through, exceeds the corner speed, and you can see him visibly not happy with it. Vibeke saves it. She knows the corner speed. What about Timothy and Ryan? They are still not there. But this is Vibeke entering her 2nd lap of racing on Electric Fidget. And Ben goes all or nothing. This time he chooses the right super, but he doesn't have the inertia to back it up with. So 10 seconds is the gap to Quentin, and now he's got to close it down. You've committed to it. The great responsibility has been utilized. 7 seconds now. You can see him looking up, looking at the screen. And now he's got a break. He's coming into Quentin corner here. 25 kilometers an hour. He saves it. He doesn't fall down. He's got him in the eyesight. We're on with the action camera of Ben Shuilong. He can see Quentin up the road now. But as that happens, their equalized heart rates are getting closer and closer together here at 185. Ben comes back down to 176 as he gets to rest up. Ben comes to the corner and he just saves it at the final bit as he tries to wipe the sweat off his face with his shoulder while accelerating. It's a very, very alternative approach there by Ben, but it seems to be paying off as the gap is down to 8 seconds. Quentin is allowing himself to come back up here, maybe rest and just, you know, utilizing his knowledge of the map. Down in the chasing group, it is Timothy, Vibeke, Homer, and Ryan. The 4 riders are all close to each other. 8 seconds separates 3rd and 6th currently here. All of them have had 2 to 3 crashes as Timothy may get another one, but he saves it this time around. 5 crashes! We've got a whole handful for Timothy Tamont here as Vibeke uses underdog. 50 equalized watts more per person ahead of her for 10 seconds, so she'll get 150 equalized watts more here as she realizes she needs to get back on touch with Timothy Tamont. Homer Thompson with an inertia as well, and you've got Ryan, the Canadian, down in 6th. He's fighting on through, but it is a very long race as we reach the halfway point, but Quentin has fallen. Quentin, is it Quentin corner? It is Quentin corner as he falls down here in the corner. He exceeds the corner speed and he falls down, and Ben has come back, so the 2 riders make it back. But is the spirit of Quentin broken here? As we're going to see, if we bring up the scoreboard, you'll see that Timothy is 1 point ahead of Quentin now. Ben is 2 points behind Timothy, so with Quentin making this vital mistake, 2 points separate the top 3 here. As you can see how close it is with Ryan in 4th, Vibeke in 5th, and Homer in 6th. And with Dashed Against the Rocks being a 2.5 scoring multiplier, anything can really change. But if you're Quentin, you got to start to worry if Timothy might catch up, if Homer might catch up, because if your spirit starts to break here, if the legs start to give out, there's not far in between being in 1st and 2nd to being down in 6th. You've got to fight for the points that you've currently earned. Now, good news for him is that he has a 30-second gap down to Timothy Tamont, down to Homer, so he's looking strong. But what about Ben Shuilong? Ben Shuilong here, getting on up to the front here, catching Quentin, utilizing his mistake after Ben committed his own mistake with the inertia, but This is where you've got to be careful. You don't let your emotions get the better of you and you fall on down. We've got Truth saying no worries for Quinton. We've got Sep saying go on Homer. We got Muck KG saying oh so close in the scoreboard. Again, you can see the scoreboard here on the left. Allison Duck saying wow, it's a close race. Is it officially Q corner? I think so. Third crash of the day. It could cost him the win here, but one thing I'm noticing about Quinton's riding style, whenever the gradient goes up, he's able to turn a switch in his head to go that extra bit deeper, to utilize the resistance the turbo trainer gives him and spin through it. Ben is grinding on that gradient. Quinton is spinning on it. He's more efficient again here. That seems to be the story on Electric Fidget. It's efficiency. With so many corners, so many gradients, you've really got to make sure that you spend your energy wisely, as we're watching a great battle here on the front with 3.5 kilometers to go. Further down, Timothy, Vibeke, Homer, and Ryan, all separated still by 15 seconds. That gap has not really changed, and you'd imagine Vibeke, Ryan, they may have their supers still in play here. And Timothy with the shake of the head, he's at 176 here. Timothy, who's still got their supers left in the chasing group?
I think everybody. Homer using inertia, I think, but all the rest have them, so I keep on digging because they'll be right back.
Keep on digging, Timothy. He says they will be right back, just like the Terminator. 3.1 kilometers. You've got the scoreboard. 176, 125.5, 114.5 now for Ben. And that is because Quinton has come back. And these two, side by side now, they've got to be pushing each other to the edge here. Quinton, slightly fatigued, but he may have the map knowledge. Ben, fresher of the two here. I think this is going to come down to the last lap. It will come down to the pressure that's being put on them. Can they cope with it? Can they manage it all the way to the finish line? 2.7 kilometers to go. DK also says Quinton is still in good position, so no worries as Ben tries to get in the draft here. Don't forget about Vibeke. Don't sleep on Ryan. Don't sleep on Homer. With Dashed Against the Rocks, again, having that 2.5 times scoring multiplier. We've seen in Zone E. We've seen in Zone K that anything can happen. Ben's coming into this hard. Ben goes down. And Quinton, it is his corner. He went so conservative. He went down to 16 Ks an hour. Bring that up on the instant replay, because look at the contrast between the two. Ben is flying through the corner at 36 and he cannot believe it. Meanwhile, Quinton at snail's pace, he has crashed so many times and that he does not want to see it once more. And like that, Ben has got a journey ahead of him. He's got a chase. He's just given Quinton some fresh life. Seeing that mistake from Ben, he now knows all he's got to do is keep them behind. As now Quinton, with a 5-second gap, pushes on through. These two riders that rode together for so long. Now Ben's got to get back on. It's 2 kilometers left, and with Quinton regaining the lead, he is 9 points ahead of Timothy on the scoreboard, and he is 21 points ahead of Ben Shuilong down in third. DK says, I will still cheer for Vibeke, always with the thumbs up as Ryan goes down. Timothy in third here. He is 30 seconds down, 20 seconds up on Vibeke. It will be tough to see Timothy come back, but looking at these two, Ben has still got his eyes on Quinton. He comes through this corner. He just about gets through the corner without crashing here, as there's another hairpin. Spiral to the left, a spiral to the right here. Vibeke has got her greater responsibility. She does not have inertia. She's still 14 seconds down. We're essentially watching a chess match here between Quinton and Ben on the front as we're on the most technical slopes here. You're trying to push your opponent into making a mistake here. And Quinton makes it! But so does Ben! They both push each other too fast. Who rises up? Who gets back up? Quinton gets back up. Ben gets back up. And now, side by side, the adrenaline that just got pumped into the two of them here from doing a simultaneous mistake. You saw Quinton think he made the mistake. We've got the replay saved up here. It's 1.4 kilometers to go. We won't go to it because we risk missing any of the final action here as the two riders. 1.3 kilometers to go. We're not missing much down in the chasing group. Timothy has got a 20-second advantage. Vibeke has got a 10-second advantage to Homer as Vibeke does end up crashing. Ben is trying to pull in the final nail in the coffin on Quentin Molyneux here. And I think, depending on how this goes, they've crossed the top of the final climb. 1 kilometer is left here as they push on through. Quentin keeping it steady. If you can bring it, we got the scoreboard on the left here. You'll see that the top three are all within 1 point of each other. Sepsis Thriller. You've got Allison saying this is it. DK saying ouch. Quentin is still there. Loading up the sprint finish. Vibeke with another crash. And with that, Homer overhauls her in the race here. Ben still in the front. What is his game here? Quentin is getting a draft ever so slightly. They push it through 800 meters. Here they go, left-hand turn, another bit of a gradient is Ben. Oh, look at his face. He pushes it to the limit. He's got to be careful. He's riding a very dangerous slope here, 700 meters. Quentin goes. Quentin gives it everything. 900 equalized watts, 191 equalized heart rate. And look at this difference. He is moving the body. He's moving the bike. He's moving the trainer. He's moving his virtual avatar in the game. And just like that, Quentin Molyneux has established a 5-second gap here on the second section of the climb. 400 meters left. You got a left-hand turn, tight left-hand turn again. 6 seconds is the gap. 400 meters is the difference, and Quentin Molyneux is emptying the tank. But how much is that taking out of him? Because there's Dashed Against the Rocks up next. He does have a 9-point differential here down to Timothy, a 21 down to Ben. But that was a big, strong attack from Quentin here as his 7-second gap. He got the finish line ahead of him. Quentin Molyneux goes on to be the winner. Nail-biting finish from Kate Mod. Allison saying, yes, look at those faces. Quentin left it all. Ben left it all as well out there. Simultaneous crash from those two riders. Timothy will be third. Vibeke, despite crashing twice here on the final lap, she has maintained her 4th place. 7 seconds ahead of Homer Thompson. She's got the spiral here to the left. She comes on through. She's got to be careful she doesn't stack it once more. But she's 4th in the overall. And she is only 28 points down. Anything can really happen here, guys. In the Mixer chat, let me know as we head into Dashed Against the Rocks, as we go to the interviews. Who do you think will win the overall? Will Quentin take another one? Will he take K and L? Will Timothy turn his 2nd place in Zone E into a win in Zone L? Will Ben Shuilong be able to take the top spot for himself? Maybe one of the outsiders, Vibeke, Ryan, or Homer Thompson, as Vibeke is happy that she's finished Electric Rush. Here, Wim says, let's go, Homer. I will cheer for you. Homer's on the final straight. He's got another 50 meters to go, and then he is done here on Electric Fidget. And with that, we can load up the instant replays of Electric Fidget. What a race! I mean, when we had the simultaneous crash from Quentin and from Ben, I mean, both of them, you went from Quentin going, oh no, to Ben going, oh no, and then Quentin going, I still got it. But as Casey says, the difference maker on that one is how Quentin attacked the climb. Every time the gradient kicked in, he went up to 900 equalized watts. And you've got the two very different approaches through Quentin corner there, as Quentin snail pace on the inside. Ben maybe getting a bit overconfident on the outside, trying to push it. As we see it here again, Quentin comes through, he crashes, then Ben makes the exact same mistake and Quentin realizes it, and this is where the race ended for Ben. The hill, look at the determination on Quentin Molyneux, pushing his body left and right here on the hill, and as we've got the highlights on display here, Quentin, that hill, I mean, I have not seen you sprint that hard up a gradient in a very long time. Talk me through the technique. Talk me through what you're trying to achieve when you stand up and really pedal hard like that.
The thing I try to achieve is push as many watts out of my body as I can. I think you're correct in saying that that was the hardest I went in a sub sprint for a very long time. So I'm very afraid that my good legs have kind of blown my curve. It will be tough in the next weeks, I think. But that hill is like, you know, when you have like a hill that's like 5 seconds too long or 5 seconds too short for your legs. This one was like perfect length for me. So I think that every race that I'll come in here, that hill is going to be the thing where I can attack and make a good time on.
Now, you've just scared everybody else when we go back to electric fidget and they know that hill is coming up. But Quentin, good luck. We've got 3 minutes until Dash Against the Rocks. Quentin is currently leading. Let's talk to Ben Shuilong, who came second. Ben, absolutely brutal race. Back and forth affair. You both made mistakes. You both made plays. But it came down to the finish on that one. Are you satisfied with how you raced electric fidget?
Yeah, I am. I really like that track. And that was a really good, fun race. You know, that was a really good tussle, and it kept flip-flopping. You know, making mistakes here and there, both of us. So it was good fun. But fair play to Quentin. I mean, he can just dish out sprint after sprint after sprint after every corner. He just killed me on the hill. So it was good. I was much more pleased with this effort than the last zone on electric fidget. So yeah, pretty happy. You know, it's a good multiplier, second place. I look forward to racing that one again, for sure.
Well, there's always Zone T tonight, Ben, so I'll look forward to seeing you back here for more. Ben Shuilong, everybody. Timothy Tamont currently second. Timothy, when we caught up with you mid-race, it was 5 crashes. What was the final tally?
I think I won. How many bonus points do I get? I got 8 in the end.
You get
did I win? Did I
0 bonus points, so you do get
I'll take it.
Fair share. But Timothy, good racing. You're second here. You are 9 points down on Quentin. Quentin spending a long effort, a big effort. Did you think you saved something back on that one, or do you think you spent as much as Quentin?
I think that sprint from Quentin was out of this world up that climb. I think he's gonna feel that in this race. Well, I hope so. As soon as VBK burned her power up and she was still like 20 seconds behind, I just kept it a little bit steady, didn't push that hard. So yeah, I think this victory is in my hands. Like, I have to win to beat him, because if I don't win, it's Quentin. It's not in my hands. Where if Quentin finishes behind me, if we get second and third, he takes it. So I gotta take this win.
Easier said than done, but everybody, Timothy Tamont, Ben Shuilong, Quentin Molyneux making up the top 3. 40 seconds to go, but also in the broadcast we've got Vibeke Bertram, we've got Ryan Goldenberg, and we've got Homer Thompson, making this an excellent lineup of racers and personality across the board. As I know, everybody's got their fans out there. We've also got Homer Thompson, who is racing in here. 23 seconds to go. Everybody who's been doing their physical replays, they're trying this one out. I may even be so adventurous to try a physical replay of K or L tomorrow. We'll see how that one goes. This electric fidget looks like a real head turner. But here we go. Dashed Against the Rocks. It is 3 laps. It is all or nothing for a few of these riders. As you see, Quentin Molyneux get out of the gate. Timothy Tamont with underdog once more. He is off into an early lead here with 1150 watts. He goes on to the attack, but he's got to be careful. He doesn't slide out, but he comes out hungry like the wolf here. He's got to be so careful. He's sliding through these corners, and he's got some energy as Ben is down. The difference is 1 point on the scoreboard. That is the difference right now. It is a heads-up battle between 2 riders that we've seen some excellent racing from recently in Timothy Tamont and Quentin Molyneux. Don't count out Ben. Don't count out Vibeke. 1 crash can turn everything upside down. 1 move, 1 mistake can change the outcome of the racing. As Timothy, with a quick start, he used his underdog super here, which gives him, at that time, I think it was about 200, maybe 150 equalized watts more. But here are our two leaders out on track. Our first and second, separated by 1 point on the scoreboard. Quentin just can't see Timothy Tamont, as Timothy's are around the corner here as we come down the descent of the volcano. Now he can see him, and we get into the technical finishing of this lap, where you've got to dodge the rocks, you've got to get onto the pier, and we've seen several victims today, as it is Ben Shuilong with a racer's edge and an underdog being activated here with a great timing on the straightaway. He finds Timothy and he goes to the left. Great execution here from Ben Shuilong. He is now 3 points off the lead. Ben Shuilong has a legitimate chance here of taking the overall. He is 2 points off Timothy. He is 4 points off Quentin Molyneux, as you can see. So if Vibeke and Homer get in the action here, that will help Ben out. And she does. Vibeke Bertram down in third here. She wants to finish strong. She's no stranger to mountain biking. And with this, Quentin drops from first before the racing to third during the racing. And Ben, Timothy, first and second with 3 kilometers left. How is Quentin looking? That is the question. A very large effort, as Homer Thompson as well comes around here. Homer Thompson pushes Quentin even further down, as he is now 8 points down. He tries to get back on the draft here, but the legs might slowly be giving out for our pre-race favorite coming into this last one. Don't forget, he's got his supers, but when will he use them? Currently on the scoreboard, it is Ben Shuilong, it is Timothy Tamont, first and second, separated by 2 points as Ben comes around. And I think if Ben takes this one, he's going to need some help from Vibeke. If Ben Shuilong wins this race, there's still 1 point between them. So Ben will need Vibeke Bertram to come on back here and be the filler in between them. But this is going to be a great finale. 2.6 kilometers to go. Dashed against the rocks has given us nothing but great racing today. And here in Zone L, our conclusion of the second zone here in a row on this Tuesday evening, as Timothy comes back into the lead. And by doing so, with Timothy taking the lead here, it puts Ben down in third and Quentin up into second place. So there are some moves happening out on the map here, with everything working around here, as Ben now starts to move his way on back. He's used all his supers. 2.1 kilometers to go. Second lap of racing is coming to a close here. Timothy on the left, Ben on the right here. On the actual gameplay, they are reversed. They're opposite as Ben moves on through here. And that puts Ben into second overall, ahead of Quentin Molyneux. But Quentin is coming back. Don't count Quentin out. He is currently third, but he is only 5 seconds back, and he looks confident. If you look at Quentin here, I think in his head right now, he's got them right where he wants them. He's got his corner caper, he's got his racer's edge, he's got his underdog, and if he can keep them within reach here, I think we're going to see a last lap surge here from Quentin Molyneux. This is calculated. It's measured down to the last bit here. And here he goes. Underdog gets used. 150 equalized watts more as he catches on up. Vibeke is getting in as well. Timothy, Ben, they're moving around. Vibeke comes up now. And the 4 racers enter the last lap together. Third zone of the day. Third out of 4. We've got 12 races. The 12th race of the day here coming to a close. And 4 races. 5 if you count. 6 if you count Homer and Ryan. Anyone can win it. It's Timothy who's riding away on the front here. The gradient of 5% as Quentin moves to the left here. He is just in an unfavorable position through this corner. He stands up again. He passes Ben. And Ben goes from second to fourth. And Vibeke Bertram jumps into third place here. So 3 riders. Quentin stands up again. 900 equalized watts. Timothy with a racer's edge. Vibeke with a racer's edge. it's going to come down to the corner caper. It'll come down to the final turn here as you've got Timothy on the front. You've got Quentin in third here, and you can see Quentin's face. The calm and composed look is disappearing as the equalized heart rates are racing. Vibeke is at 195. Timothy is at 192. Quentin is at 193 here as there's 700 meters to go. Will Vibeke be able to do something about Timothy on the front here? You've got to mind the rocks. Quentin passes Vibeke, and the two riders here enter the finale. Corner capers at the ready. Who will trigger theirs first? Timothy, 192. Quentin, 193. This is a direct battle for the Omnium win. Quentin goes. There's the corner caper. Does Timothy go for the block? He misses. Quentin is through, and Quentin is leading the Omnium overall. And like that, with a 1 second lead, Quentin now gains a 20-second lead, but Timothy tries a late resurgence. Corner caper this time around. He dodges the block again. And back to back, the two riders. Excellent skill on display. And it is Timothy Termont, with his head just chopped off by his gameplay, who wins Zone L. Whew! Ben Shuilong will be third. He will also be third on the Omnium. Ryan will be fourth, as he beats Vibeke by 10 points on the overall. But Mixer chat, how about that back and forth? Timothy attempting the block, he misses it, and when it comes back to Quentin, he misses it. I mean, that won't be talked about. That one will be analyzed. We've got the results here in the top right. Timothy, 201.5. Quentin, 200.5. Ben, 172. Ryan, 59. Vibeke, 149. And Homer. Now, let's see that replay. I mean, I'm just reading back the chat. What an absolute blast of a race. Ben, excellent gameplay as he makes some moves here. He pushes us around. And then we've got Quentin starting his attempt back here. He looked confident. He looked like he was in his zone here. But then when he got to the later sections of this lap, you can kind of tell his confidence disappeared. And at this moment, I think everybody thinks Quentin has it. It's safe. Everybody's using their corner capers. Vibeke, Ryan, Quentin, all at the exact same time. But here comes Timothy, corner caper once more. He gives it everything, and he fake shimmies right, and then he goes left here, and Quentin doesn't catch it. And with one last ditch effort, Quentin just didn't have enough. And look at this celebration. I mean, if that's not somebody who wants the victory, I don't know. We get the final here one more time with the move. I'm not sure why that's in there, but Timothy, what an absolute display of skill. We saw it in Aquavello. We've seen it here again on Dashed Against the Rock. You've got the whole chat on their feet, Timothy. Talk me through that race.
Phew. Oh, that hurt. For a second there, I thought, yeah, I got this. Quentin's all the way down. But something in the back of my mind was like, you know, you got to keep pushing because he'll be right back knowing Quentin. And he did. I used my Razor's Edge a little bit prematurely because I used it in the first loop where the speed is 50, so I couldn't really, I kind of wasted mine. So that meant he would be right back without, like, would be an equal. And then I think it was, yeah, he had to use his corner caper early to kind of like pass me. I missed the block. And then, yeah, I had mine. An all-out sprint for like the last two corners, and then again after the last corner. Yeah, and I perfectly dodged them. Was a bit scared to do the same thing as Nils did in zone E. Passed me, like he passed me with his corner caper, but right into the rocks. So was a bit scared I did the same, but I got past him and yeah, got the overall win. Woo!
1 point, Timothy. So often you've been on the opposite side of that. Today you're on this side. Congratulations. Let's go and hear from your opponent in the sprint, who I think deserves a round of applause from everybody in the chat, because what Quentin's been able to do across 3 zones today has been insane. But Quentin, that last sprint finish, did you think you had it for a moment, or did you have a feeling that Timothy would come back?
I knew that Timothy saw his corner caper left, so I knew that it was going to be very, very close. I kind of messed up my racer's edge as well. I initiated a little bit too early. I thought I was already in the clear on the downhill, but I was still in the corner where I can only go like 54, I think. So I had to brake there. Lost a lot of momentum. I think if I, timed a little bit better, I think the gap, the momentum change between me and Timothy would be big enough to for me to be in the clear. But it didn't. But yeah, in the end, I mean, it'll come down to bonus points, I guess. I'm not sure if he'll get bonus points for a kid that's not matching, but we'll see. Either way, it was a fun sprint in the end.
Of course, these are all results pending official adjudication by the events team and the commissioners. But Quentin, cross all the zones today. Fantastic racing. You can walk away with your head held high, and then on Thursday you can enjoy some keyboard racing with Casey Shum. Thank you, thank you, Quentin. And again, guys in the Mixer chat, need an applause for what Quentin has been able to do across the 3 zones. Ben, who came third in that one? Ben, there was a moment there where you were second, then you were third, then you were fourth, then you were second, then you were third, then you were fourth. A bit like Nigel, you were on a roller coaster in that race. What went through your mind?
I think I've had it in every race. Like after a little 5-minute cool down between races, I get a good minute or two at the start of the race, and then it just catches up with me. But I think I've got the best excuse of them all, which is that I cycled 100 miles on Sunday. So I think my legs are a bit... Invalid excuse. No, it's great. Again, it's a tricky course. I was quite pleased with my power-ups, on the downhill section. I think some people were probably taking it more slowly than they needed to, so I was quite pleased with using the power-ups on that section. But just didn't have enough in the legs to really push through, but thankfully I didn't crash, so that kept my position pretty good in that last race. So yeah, it's been a really good fun omnium for sure. I like those 2 races. So,
well, I am glad. I was going to say, great results in both races. It was back and forth, and it came down to the wire. I'm glad you had fun, Ben, because I can say I definitely enjoyed standing here in the booth. Let's get the final word from Vibeke Bertram, who was in 5th. She warmed up in Zone K, and then she hit Zone L. And a bit like Ben there, Vibeke, there was a while where now you're in 2nd suddenly. What was Dashed Against the Rocks like for you?
Oh, it was great fun. It's very hard after the previous race because that really took everything out of my legs, and I had a cramp in my left leg, so I knew I just had to keep pushing, otherwise I'll blow up. It was great fun. I made the same mistake as in the last race. I used my corner caper too early. And I went from 3rd to 5th, and I moved into the rocks and crashed again, and well, it was great fun, but I had hoped to do better.
There's always Thursday, there's always Saturday, and there's always next Tuesday. But Vibeke, it was great to have you in the broadcast. Taking home 5th preliminaries, Vibeke Bertram, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today here for Zones K and L. We will be back with more racing in 7 hours time with Zone T. We're going to see more Electric Fidget, more Lakeview Corner, more Dashed Against the Rocks, and more Aqua Velo. I can't wait. I hope you can't either. And if that's the case, always click the little follow button down below. We'll be back in 7 hours. But until then, we'll see you. But no, Beth, your goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marvels. Kayla versus Allison, and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory.